All right, let's dive in. Picture this. Texas sunrise. Everything seems normal. Ranchers, trains, the usual border sounds. But then there's this low thud. Military trucks. And suddenly, Venezuelan soldiers.
Right there on U.S. soil?
Yeah, Venezuelan insignia, weapons out, moving with this unsettling precision. It's just wrong. Completely surreal.
Utterly unthinkable for people waking up to that.
And you can imagine, right? Phones immediately come out, shaky video, grainy pictures.
Oh yeah, hitting social media like wildfire.
Venezuelan soldiers in Texas. And the questions just explode online. Is this real? It felt less like an invasion, you know?
They're like a calculated insult.
Exactly. Like someone was deliberately poking the bear, carving an insult right onto American land.
And that's where our sources, intel reports, local testimony, journalism really pick up the thread. Because it wasn't just the soldiers. No. Very quickly, locals started talking about cartel guides, actually directing the Venezuelan troops.
Cartel guides. So coordination.
Deep coordination. It suggested backroom deals, making this whole thing feel incredibly dirty. Corruption, arrogance, violence, just marching in together.
Wow. Okay, so let's unpack this. In this deep dive, we're going beyond those first shocking images.
Right.
We need to understand what really happened, why it hit such a nerve across the U.S. politically, culturally. Who were these players, really?
The state actors, the non-state actors?
Like a cartels?
Yeah. And what does this whole mess tell us about sovereignty, resilience, and maybe just sheer arrogance?
That moment when arrogance met steel, as some sources put it?
Exactly. So let's go back to those first moments. Foreign troops, Venezuelan flags, the Texas dust. It must have felt like a total nightmare.
Absolutely. A line crossed.
Yeah.
Sovereignty just blatantly ignored. The impossible happening right in front of their eyes.
And the intel immediately flagged the cartel angle, you said.
Heavily. Eyewitnesses, intercepted comms. It wasn't just Venezuelan soldiers wandering across. Cartels were providing routes, guides, local intel.
So this was a planned operation using criminal networks. Precisely. Which makes the violation feel even deeper, right? It's not just a foreign military, it's that blended threat. American soil, defended for generations, now had troops emboldened by criminals walking on it.
Leaving Texans just stunned.
Yeah.
Angry. Scared.
All of the above. Caught between rage and fear, as one report put it, a fundamental test of safety, of resolve.
And you just have to think, the sheer audacity. Foreign troops, backed by cartels, just marching in. What was the U.S. going to do?
Would Washington hesitate? Would they get bogged down in debate?
Or would that American spirit, maybe underestimated, actually push back?
And the whole world was tuned in. Allies, enemies, London, Beijing, Moscow, everyone watching their screens.
Waiting.
Yeah, waiting to see if that line drawn in the Texas sand actually meant anything. Was it just symbolic, or would there be consequences?
Which brings us to the why Texas question.
Yeah.
Why there? Why did this specific act spark such a huge national reaction?
Well, our sources really emphasize Texas isn't just another state on the map, is it?
No, it's iconic.
Exactly. It symbolizes resilience, independence, that whole frontier thing, carving something out of nothing.
So messing with Texas.
It's like touching the American heartbeat itself. It resonates differently.
And the socio-political analysis suggests this hit everyone, right? Not just conservatives.
Absolutely. That's key. Progressives, conservatives. Texas is this paradox, isn't it? Rugged individualism, but also this huge melting pot.
Yeah, immigrant families, Latino communities, black workers, white farmers, tech hubs.
All of it. So an attack there felt like an attack on that whole diverse patchwork, an insult to everyone living under that promise of American safety.
And the Venezuelan angle specifically, that felt like a psychological jab.
Totally calculated. Intel suggested it hinted at this new, really disturbing alliance, a desperate government cozying up to powerful cartels.
For a mutual benefit.
Yeah. Venezuela gets projected strength, maybe cash. Cartels get state cover, impunity. It wasn't random. It felt strategic, meant to destabilize, to provoke.
And that cartel connection wasn't new, right? The whispers were there for years.
Decades, according to some intel briefs. Tentacles reaching deep into Venezuela funding, drug routes, buying loyalty. These weren't just casual contacts.
Explain their links.
Specific financial flows, logistical cooperation. So if this incursion was coordinated and the evidence screams it was, the threat level just skyrockets. It's not about smuggling anymore.
It's about sovereignty itself.
Precisely, a direct challenge. And that gravity, that shared threat, it actually pulled a divided America together, didn't it?
Yeah, for a moment, patriotism, but also panic.
Yeah.
Left, right, immigrant, native-born, everyone feeling that same knot in their stomach.
We are being tested.
Okay, so Turning to Venezuela, what's going on there? This wasn't about national defense for them.
Oh, absolutely not. Look at Caracas, once wealthy, now just hollowed out by decades of authoritarianism, mismanagement.
People suffering.
Immensely. So the leadership that greenlit this, our sources are clear. It wasn't patriotism, it was ego. It was a desperate need to look strong internationally.
There's distraction.
The total distraction, a spectacle. And what bigger spectacle than poking the U.S. directly?
Which led them straight into this unholy alliance, as the intelligence called it.
Yeah, declassified reports detail specific meetings. Venezuelan officials, key cartel figures. It was transactional.
Cartels bring the cash, the networks, the ruthlessness.
And Venezuela offers the flag, the cover of a state, uniforms, maybe diplomatic immunity for some things.
A marriage of convenience.
Criminals with a flag, and a flag desperate enough to wrap itself around criminals. It's grim.
And the sheer arrogance. You could see it in their state media, hear it in the intercepts.
Oh, totally. Boasting. Convinced the cartels gave them cover. Convinced Washington was too divided, too tired, too distracted to hit back hard.
They misread the room, didn't they?
Massively. They saw internal U.S. debates not as democracy, but as weakness. They mistook, perhaps, compassion or deliberation for vulnerability, a critical error.
And the hypocrisy is just stunning.
A regime screaming about sovereignty while stomping all over Americas, aligning with criminals while pretending to uphold the law. The line just blurred.
State and criminal looking like the same thing.
Exactly. But arrogance blinds you, doesn't it? History is full of examples.
It has a way of humbling people.
For sure. So while Caracas was maybe celebrating this bold move, something else was already quietly starting to move, a counterforce.
Because arrogance always means something, eventually. And it wasn't just the military. It started with the people, right? Texans.
Yeah, that quiet strength. Texans have been through a lot. Dust storms, hurricanes, economic busts. There's a stubborn pride there.
Resilience.
Deep resilience. Think of families like the Ramirez, mentioned in local reports, 3 generations on their land. The grandson, Jose, just furious. This is my home, my soil.
He wasn't alone.
Not at all. From El Paso to the Valley, Texans from all backgrounds, people whose families came from Mexico, Vietnam, Germany, everywhere felt that same violation.
It wasn't just against one group.
No, it was against all of them, against their shared home. Meanwhile, far away, the Navy starts to stir.
Petty Officer Daniel Whitaker, just 21.
Right. Remembering his mom's words. Remember who you are. Remember who you serve. A family legacy of service.
WWII, Desert Storm.
It underscores that idea, doesn't it? Dignity, freedom, they aren't guaranteed. They have to be guarded. Discipline, yes, but also purpose.
And the Navy itself carries that history, doesn't it? It's more than just ships.
Oh, absolutely. Chasing pirates centuries ago, carrying troops for liberty in world wars, the Cold War vigil, disaster relief.
Symbols of protection.
Symbols of a nation that, at its best, answers the call. Shields the vulnerable. That's the institutional memory.
So you have these two forces, Texans on the ground, sailors preparing at sea, different lives, but suddenly connected.
Braided together, as one source put it, both embodying that same truth. American strength isn't arrogance, it's endurance, it's character, not cruelty.
But before that character could fully answer, things got worse on the border, didn't they?
Yeah, the initial shock turned into real fear. Venezuelan patrols pushed deeper, bolder, cartel protection seemed real. The U.S. response felt slow.
And then violence flared up.
Ambush outside Laredo, smugglers, maybe now acting like militants, hitting local cops. A ranch torched near Eagle Pass. A real firefight near Brownsville.
Families fleeing.
Yes. The border wasn't just tense, it was becoming an active, dangerous front line, according to federal reports.
And back in D.C., chaos.
Pretty much. Intense arguments in the Situation Room. Restraint versus swift action. The risk of wider war versus the cost of inaction.
And the big question hanging over everything.
Is this crime or is this war? How do we frame this? How do we respond proportionately but decisively? Leaked documents show how paralyzing that was.
And every hour they debate it.
Just emboldened Caracas and the cartels. Venezuelan state TV is mocking the U.S. Cartel leaders are feeling untouchable, promising more.
But Texans weren't waiting.
No way! Armed volunteers patrolling ranches, sheriffs deputizing people, and crucially, immigrant communities speaking up loudly. This is our home too, defend it.
The pressure was immense. Something had to give.
It felt like it was about to explode into real tragedy locally. Then finally the order came down.
Clear, unflinching, final.
Yes. The president's decision, cutting through the noise, Deploy the Navy.
And just like that, the whole dynamic shifts.
Instantly, the tempo changes. America goes from defense, maybe appearing hesitant, to undeniable offense.
Out in the Gulf, steel giants waking up.
Warships coming alive, engines roaring, sailors moving with that practiced, almost calm precision. But you know they felt the weight.
The weight of the nation's expectation, its dignity.
On the carrier decks, crews prepping F-18s. That smell of jet fuel, the tension, you can almost picture it. Pilots strapping in.
For Texas, for home.
Yeah, that sentiment was apparently palpable. And the target wasn't random. It was specific. Symbolic.
That cartel fortress.
The ones straddling the borderlands, rumored for years, never touched. A hub of their power, their impunity. That mockery was about to get answered.
And people back home are starting to hear.
Yeah, glued to screens, social media buzzing. The Navy is coming. Just the idea brought this wave of relief, of anticipation.
Night falls. Ops rooms counting down. Clinical language, but underneath.
A storm of emotion, surely. While the cartel guys and their Venezuelan advisors are probably still feeling pretty smug, convinced Washington blinked.
Big mistake. 5 minutes. Pilots ready. 1 minute.
In the call. Weapons free!
And the sky just rips open.
Roar of the jets, tomahawks launching from ships offshore, flaming arcs against the night sky. People on the coast could see it.
Erupting with light.
A very visible message. America is answering now.
And the fortress.
Obliterated. First impact, blinding force, walls just dissolving. Second strike hits the bunkers, ammo, fuel, secondary explosions. Devastatingly precise.
Arrogance meets steel.
Hubris meets precision. That analysis seems spot on.
And the world saw it happen live.
Pretty much. Drone feeds hit social media almost instantly. Wildfire doesn't even cover it. People everywhere watching the symbol of impunity just vanish.
Hashtags blowing up. Hashtag Navy Justice. Hashtag Texas Strong.
Yeah. And across the U.S., you could almost feel this collective exhale, relief, catharsis, especially in Texas. They felt seen, validated.
But the intel community was already warning.
Right. This isn't over. Power shifts aren't quiet. Enemies don't just shrug off humiliation. One chapter closed, maybe?
But another one just opened.
Definitely. The next morning, America wakes up to this new reality. Those images are burned into people's minds.
Media going crazy, debating it, decisive action, risky escalation.
Every angle. And social media was just a frenzy. Hashtag Texas Strong everywhere. Hashtag Navy Justice. But also memes, arguments, stories from proud immigrants, veterans, the whole spectrum.
How did the world react officially?
Allies, the UK, Poland sent strong support. Moscow was quiet, skeptical. Beijing issued careful statements, but you bet their analysts were studying the footage.
In Caracas.
Publicly outraged, furious. But intel suggested that behind the scenes people were whispering maybe the leadership went too far this time, a crack in their narrative.
And in Texas.
Flags flying higher, relief, prayers. And for the nation, even with all the division, there was this flicker of unity.
A reminder.
Yeah, a reminder that the country could still act as one when pushed.
But the intel analysts weren't celebrating just yet.
No, they were looking at the shadows, movements, whispers of coordination beyond that one fortress. Cartel networks are adaptable, decentralized.
They'd shift tactics.
Exactly. Reports started coming in about shifting logistics hubs, maybe Venezuelan proxies trying to recruit locally for a different kind of fight, more insidious.
So the battle wasn't over, it was just changing shape.
Beginning a new, probably messier phase.
So when we look back at all this, the headlines, the strike, it feels like fragments, doesn't it? Distractions almost.
From the deeper lesson, yeah. Because this wasn't just about Venezuela or even the cartels. It was about that specific kind of arrogance.
The kind that assumes free people will just roll over.
Exactly. And the strike, the response, it was a declaration, wasn't it?
Borders matter. Freedom matters.
And you don't mock the dignity of a sovereign people without consequence. Simple as that.
It also kind of shattered that narrative of America being too broken to act, didn't it?
It really did. When the chips were down, on this issue, the internal divide seemed less important. Left, right, center people basically agreed. No, you don't kneel.
So for you listening, why did the world watch so closely?
Because America, in that moment, maybe reflected something universal, right?
Yeah.
That old truth. Arrogance eventually trips over itself. And freedom, even when it looks messy or fractured,
Finds a way to rise.
yeah. You hear stories like that father telling his kids, this is why we came here. People fight back against this stuff. Or the soldier's mom praying, the old rancher nodding. Small moments, big meaning.
So the real climax wasn't the missiles hitting the target?
No, our sources suggest it was more subtle, that quiet certainty that the fundamental spirit hadn't been lost. It was reawakened.
The Navy's roar was the symbol.
But the lesson was the promise. America will argue, it'll stumble, it'll fracture, that's democracy. But when tested on something core like this, it won't kneel.
So the smoke clears, the news moves on. But the challenge remains, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Dignity isn't a one-time defense. It's every day, in big ways and small ways.
And arrogance will keep trying, whether it's from across a border or from within.
But freedom will keep answering. It has to.